Hey, Armand here with your forecast for the week of November 30th, 2020, taking us into the last month of this foul year. I'm sure many people are happy to see it winding up. We don't know what kind of mischief the last 8% of the year has to offer, though, so we'll have to keep the fingers crossed. Certainly, we're in the midst of eclipse season. We begin the week coming off of the eclipse in Gemini. It's a full moon eclipse at the earliest hours of Monday, November 30th, which is tied up with the Neptune station on the 28th. That was Saturday, November 28th. And so there's a kind of, we begin the week with a big push. Or is it slide? Maybe with the Pisces Gemini energy, maybe slide is the right word to say. So, as we go through this week, we are going to be dealing with the Neptunian energy sort of shifting around on us. Now, last week we talked about the Gemini and Sagittarius energies. And with the North Node in Gemini, the admonition was to go get some facts. And with the South Node in Sagittarius, it was to not rely too heavily on beliefs. See what the facts have to say. Build up your picture from the facts rather than relying upon your beliefs. With Neptune so prominent as we begin the week, it's funny that it's square to, it's at cross purposes to the entire Gemini Sagittarius axis. And one thing about the Gemini Sag axis is that the thing it has in common is this sense of looking for certainty. You can look for certainty with facts, you could look for certainty with your beliefs, but either way, you're looking for certainty. And Neptune and Pisces pushes us more towards the wisdom of uncertainty, of not knowing, of leaving things up in the air, of taking experiences in without necessarily being able to process them and put them in a box someplace and say, this is what this is. We'll save it for future use, that kind of thing. It's a different sort of energy, and it requires us to sort of leave things up in the air for a little bit longer than we're comfortable. People don't like uncertainty, do they? People will choose an unpleasant option rather than stay in the midst of uncertainty. It's a default kind of approach to things. You can get past it, of course, but a lot of people do. I've done it certainly. You're just not quite sure, and so you grab the devil as opposed to the one you don't know. But maybe it's an angel that you don't know, and you still grab the devil that you do know. It's the quest for certainty is so strong, and this Neptunian energy says, don't do that. Don't grab for the certainty. Let things flow. Just go with it. And not like delay, not just delay. Sometimes it's all about taking the experience in and not coming out with a definitive answer. That's sort of the wisdom for the beginning of the week. And it's going to be hard to maintain that because as we get to midweek and towards the next weekend, the moon goes into Cancer, which is all about security and knowing and being protective. So between the Gemini eclipse and the Neptune station, things are sort of popping up in the air, experiential carnival to begin the week. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday kind of settles into this more like, okay, well, wait a minute, what's happening here? What are we going to do? You know, and the need for security becomes stronger. My sense of it is watching the last few moons in Cancer as we've been going through the energies at the last part of 2020 is that there's going to be a pretty protective kind of vibe around, and it affects things on the gross national, international level, of course, but it affects us on a personal level as well. It's not a good time to push for things. It's a good time to just sort of, stay in line, as well. Stay in your lane is the expression that people like. It's a good Gemini kind of expression, right? Stay in your lane. It's not a time to push for expansion. Now, when we get to the weekend, we have the moon in Leo, and it's a waning moon, but it's still got some juice in it. It's a waning gibbous moon in Leo, and in our pandemic, quarantine, isolated world, it may still represent something of an opportunity to, have a little bit of fun, a little bit more creativity. We have the fiery sun in Sagittarius and the fiery moon in Leo. More creative flowing, more sociable kind of energy, more enthusiastic. It'll be good to get away from some of the wet weather of the Neptune station and the Cancer moon, especially. So that's kind of the outlay of the week. I would say the beginning of the week, I would just be a little cautious because there's so much uncertainty. Midweek, towards the end of the week, there's a little too much quest for certainty, and so you don't necessarily want to rock other people's boats. And then on the weekend, you can have what fun can be had these days. It's a nice little outline of things. Of course, undoubtedly, many significant things will be going on during the course of the week on every level, as always. Mercury is very busy this week. It makes me feel that there's quite a bit of things to be communicated. There's a lot of announcements coming out, especially at the beginning part of the week. A lot of announcements coming forward. Two little thoughts to end our shortened forecast here. The first is that uh, when we have this uncertainty kind of time, uh, we have to watch out for periods of conspiracy theories and things like that. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't conspiracies, because there are, and I'm not saying that all of that type of thing doesn't happen at some level or another. But those grand conspiracies that, it's all being, we're all being taken over by this cabal or another, it's very hard to run a big conspiracy. We'll talk about that someday. Someday we'll talk about conspiracies just by themselves without trying to get it into a weekly forecast. But the thing is this. When you have uncertainty, we try to fill in the missing pieces. When there's missing pieces from the puzzle, we kind of imagine what's there, right? We sort of form a gestalt. And the problem is that what you put in the place of the missing pieces is a projection from the inside. And the more uncertain you feel, and to an extent the more powerless you feel, the more likely you are to come up with some dark alternatives for those pieces. So we want to watch out for that. And the following thing, from yourself, but, from others, not you. The following thing is that when I talk about the energies of a sign, when I say, oh, Gemini can do this or Sagittarius can do that, it's not about you. It's not about you're a Gemini, you're a Sagittarius, you're a Pisces. It's not like that. I'm talking about the energy of the sign, the overall bag of potentials that go with that sign as it gets activated by the transiting nodes or planets going through or planets aspecting and so on. It's not about, you have a Gemini sun and so this is the way you are. That's good Gemini, that's bad Gemini, this is good Sag and bad Sag. It's not like that. If you have a Gemini or Sagittarius sun or something, that you embody that energy, and to an extent, I mean, you do choose among the choices that are there, but of course you choose many different things at many different times. So it's not about that. So I'm not making any pronouncements about sun signs that, if you're a Gemini, that you're always this way. That's silly. But you knew that. Who was getting that wrong was other people, not you. All right, I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.